Morning, Carlisle Barracks. Morning. And a beautiful, beautiful morning it is. There is something special about standing right here in the heart of Carlisle Barracks. You can feel this history of a 268-year-old military encampment around you. You can feel the energy of a community committed to service, to leadership, and to learning. To our Army War College students here this morning, in just 5 short weeks, you walk across that Willock bandstand. The end of that thing. I know that you're ready to shape the future of joint power. And remember to look back to Carlisle. We stand ready to assist you as you continue to study and reflect on responsible command, military science, and national defense. 123 years ago, the first commandant of the United States Army War College welcomed Secretary War L. Root, who charged this institution not to promote war, but to preserve peace through intelligent and adequate preparation to repel aggression. And now today it's my privilege as the 53rd Commandant to introduce the 29th Secretary of Defense, the Honorable Pete Hegseth, who has charged us to deter aggression with a laser focus on building mentality and warfighting readiness. Secretary Hegseth is a combat-tested Army veteran with experience in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Guantanamo Bay. He knows what it takes to lead in complex environments and what it takes to prepare joint warfighters who can think strategically, challenge conventional wisdom, and lead in a rapidly evolving global landscape. Please rise and join me in a warm welcome for the Honorable.
Who dialed up Thunderstruck? I didn't choose it, but I like it. Please, take your seats. I'll be honest. I have to become SOP. Well, good morning, warriors. Warriors in the profession of arms. Others chose to be doctors and lawyers and other honorable professions. You chose to be warriors. Leaders of men, leaders of our best men and women. It's an honor to stand before you today amongst so many distinguished guests. Congressman, Brigadier General Scott Perry, a graduate of this course as well. Thank you for being here, sir. This is your district also. Amongst so many senior leaders, so many accomplished warriors, so many people who have given so much to this great nation. As was mentioned, the Army War College is one of the vital military institutions in our country, helping our leaders advance at the strategic level. I want to thank everyone here that's a part, the teachers and the staff, support staff, everyone that makes it work. The work here helps to forge the next generation of military senior leaders. Carlisle doesn't run without all of you. And I know a lot of you are soon looking out to your next signees. Congratulations. I'm here today to mark the first 100 days of the Trump administration and share what we have accomplished so far at the Department of Defense. When President Trump called me to take this job, he told me two things. The first was, Pete, you're going to have to be tough as shit. Tough. Boy, he was not kidding on that one. This job requires a steel spine, and that's fine. We're doing the work of the American people and the American warfighter. But second, the president said to me, I want you to restore the warrior ethos of our military, full stop. And so that is exactly what I've set about to do all 100 days. Fighting for you is the privilege of a lifetime, a deployment of a lifetime. And from day one, and each 100 of those days, our overriding objectives have been clear. Restoring the warrior ethos, rebuilding our military, and reestablishing deterrence. Restoring the warrior ethos is the most fundamental of those three. Everything starts and ends with warriors in training and on the battlefield. We are leaving wokeness and weakness behind and refocusing on lethality, meritocracy, accountability, standards, and readiness. One of the early actions we did was to commission a rapid, force-wide review of military standards. Fitness standards, training standards, physical standards, gender-neutral standards for combat roles. To be the world's most lethal and effective fighting force, you have to set and maintain high standards for our men and women in uniform. High, equal, and unwavering. To be lethal, you have to trust that the warrior alongside you in battle, or the troops fighting in the unit that many of you will lead, are capable, truly physically capable of doing what is necessary under fire. You need to be fit, not fat. Sharp, not shabby. Especially our leaders. And that's why we're reviewing how the department has maintained standards in the past, especially the last 4 years, and whether those standards have dropped, formally or informally. We're also welcoming back former service members who were wrongly forced to leave the military. More than 8,700 service members were involuntarily separated for not taking an experimental COVID-19 vaccine. Others were more informally pushed out or decided to get out. We are welcoming actively back those warriors of conscience. We've sent letters out. We're seeking them out. We want them back. They never should have been forced back, and we hope they come back quickly. And our personnel and readiness department is working in real time to make that process more and more efficient, more and more direct every single day. And as we welcome those warriors back, we're giving wokeness the boot. We've said goodbye to the harmful effects of woke culture and so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. We're removing DEI content, eliminating quotas, ensuring recruitment, retention, and promotions are based on performance, not immutable characteristics. DEI is dead at DOD. We're building a merit-based culture that promotes and rewards individual initiative, excellence, and hard work. We're also working hard to protect command climbing. We're going to be reviewing IG and EO processes that too often are weaponized against commanders in formations. I can't tell you how many men and women I hear from about to take battalion or brigade leadership or wing leadership, you name it, who feel like they're walking on eggshells because of processes that were put in place that undermine a commander's ability to lead. We are reviewing that all. We're also optimizing the civilian workforce, ensuring that we have the right employees in the right roles at the right time to support our warfighters. We're doing this by voluntary means to the greatest extent possible, through offerings like voluntary early retirement and separation initiatives. We're also ending low productivity telework and remote work culture. Teams work best when they work together in person, butts in seats, not on Zoom. We're making accountability and high performance the watchwords for the department. At all levels, we expect employees to deliver results and respond to leadership needs. Their incentives and their performance plans, we believe, quickly and in real time will reflect that. It's a lot of change very quickly. Now, as you may have noticed, the media likes to call it chaos. We call it overdue. How are the men and women responding to this call? Well, I can tell you personally, it's going better than we could have ever expected. This department, and you know it, across the Joint Force, is filled with patriots who want nothing more than to be laser focused on serving their country. And that's why retention is rebounding as well, big time in real time. Well, one of the clearest metrics so far is actually coming from outside the military. The enthusiasm of young Americans in particular is off the charts. You know firsthand how challenging it has been to recruit in recent years. We faced a legitimate recruiting crisis where we couldn't recruit enough men and women into the military, so we lowered the amount required. It still didn't meet the amount of people required in recruitment. That's over. Over the last few months, the Army has had its best recruiting numbers since 2010. The Navy is on track to have its best recruiting year since 2002, before many of the newest recruits were even born. I cannot tell you how many texts and calls I get, members of my staff get, that get referred to me, of people who had ruled out in their family military service and are now, because of President Trump and his leadership, enthusiastic about going to boot camp or OCS and serving their nation. The other branches are on track to well exceed their targets as well. It is a recruiting renaissance in America of America's best and brightest. When our standards are high, when the mission is clear, when we prioritize warfighting over wokeness, that energizes the young men and women of our country, the very patriots over this American experiment we have always needed. They're proud of their country. They're proud of our military. And like generations before them, they will rise to the challenge set before us. As leaders, all of us, all we have to do is keep raising the bar and putting the mission and our people first. That's reviving the warrior ethos. Second objective is rebuilding the military. You've all served long enough to see the downward trajectory of readiness in our forces. President Trump promised to reverse that decline. And that reversal is well underway just 100 days in. He has declared and delivered on the beginnings of a generational investment in rebuilding our military, much like Ronald Reagan did in the 1980s. Our goal is to put the best systems in the hands of warfighters to ensure that as leaders, you have the systems that support what you need for maximum lethality. You should never be in a fair fight. That's our job. First, we are rapidly moving ahead on our president's key campaign promises, which is a Golden Dome for America, a nationwide missile defense system to protect Americans from the threat of nuclear, hypersonic, and conventional weapons here in our homeland. Another incredibly exciting program is the newly announced and already launched F-47. It'll fly faster, further, more stealthy, and more lethal than any fighter jet in the history of mankind. When the president signed that, I was standing right next to him. I thought of my kids and my grandkids who will benefit from the projection of power that we're investing in right now. It sends a very clear message to our allies: we're not going anywhere. And to our enemies, we will be able to project power around the globe for decades to come. These investments are not just in Golden Dome and F-47. Historic investments in the border, in hypersonics, in long-range drones, in shipbuilding, in modernization, you name it, we're investing in it. Taken together, these programs mean that we will be able to strike anywhere, anytime, while our citizens at home will be protected from the worst that our enemies could possibly throw at us, defending the homeland. But it's not just these marquee programs. Over the past 100 days, we've been assessing the department from top to bottom to ensure that we're getting more, faster, better, and more efficiently. Last month, we published guidance to the acquisition workforce. Sounds wonky, but it's very important. Reinforcing the software acquisition pathway as our preferred model. We have to be able to get what we need and when we need it. And just this week, we began reviewing all 72 active major defense acquisitions programs. As President Trump outlined in his executive order on defense acquisition, we must have high-performing, mission-aligned programs at every level. We're also strengthening our defense industrial base, which is sadly been neglected over the last 4 years. We're establishing a new munitions war room, investing in expand critical mineral production, including rare earth elements, heavy rare earth elements, light rare earth elements, all the things we need that need to be made at home or by our allies and partners. And President Trump has created an Office of Shipbuilding, not the Navy, not at the Defense Department, but in the White House to restore our maritime industrial base. We're also making our military more efficient, meeting the warfighters' needs in the most cost-effective manner and reallocating savings to our most mission-critical areas. That's why we went through an exercise of finding 8% reductions across services. Of course, the media ran with it and called them cuts. No, this is how you plan and prioritize, is you look where you can do more with less, and you shift out old priorities and move in new. Maximum efficiency, focusing on what you need now and in the future. Through our partnership with the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, earlier this month we identified $5.1 billion in savings, and that's just the beginning. We're ending contracts for business process consulting, enterprise cloud IT services, and duplicative IT services. Massive contracts that no one ever looks at, where people push a lot of paper and make a lot of PowerPoints and give a lot of consulting work, but it doesn't manifest in anything meaningful for the warfighters. So we can use that money for better healthcare and mission-critical programs, from process to people, from consultants to corporals. The bottom line is this: we are rebuilding the world's greatest fighting force for the challenges ahead of us. We're prioritizing what works and cutting what does not. And yes, as the president announced from the Oval Office, we will have the first $1 trillion DoD budget. What's the reason for that? Well, one, we're digging out of a big hole that the previous administration left, cratering our military and its capabilities and not investing properly. Frankly, being reckless and irresponsible. Not just around the world with our image, but with what we invested in and did not invest in. But second, because we live in a dangerous world of growing threats. Not about a dollar amount and how much you spend. It's about ensuring what you spend matches the threats, that your capabilities match the threats. The president has charged me with doing that every single day through our budget process and our planning process. That's what we're focused on. Working with Indo-PACOM and our COCOM commanders at the tip of the spear to understand what they believe they need and delivering it. Your adversaries know that your military is filled with warriors and your logistics capabilities are robust and your warfighters have the most advanced weapon systems known to man. They're less likely to challenge you on the battlefield, which is the point. Which leads to our third objective: reestablishing deterrence. After 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Biden administration. Most importantly, and you saw it from my first visit, you saw it from the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Raising Cane, his first visit coming up on Saturday, is we are securing our borders first. After decades of securing other people's borders in far-off places, we are securing ours. After a reckless invasion of over 20 million people, and we have no idea who they are and why they're coming here, has invaded our country, that ends. From day one, we have surged posture to control the border and update our military planning at DoD to protect the United States from cross-border threats. Foreign terrorist organizations designated the cartels, drugs, human trafficking, violence, death. Under the Trump administration, it ends. Under this Defense Department, we get 100% operational control of our border. We started on day one, will continue through day 100, all the way through the entirety of the Trump administration. Working with our partners at DHS and CBP, we've already seen if you're being generous, 97% reduction. In reality, it's 99% reduction in illegal border crossings compared to the same period in 2024. Monthly encounters have dropped from 250,000 encounters, most of which are false asylum claims. You also have the known gotaways and the unknown gotaways, so it's much higher than 250,000. You don't know where most of these people are coming from. Now to the trickle of a few thousands, most of which we're interdicting and engaging because of our force posture on the border in real time. It starts with people, it moves to infrastructure and surveillance. And our American troops, you should see their morale on the border. It's incredible when you're defending your own homeland with robust and sufficient assets, and you are able to interdict. Changes the whole game. We just designated a trial area for a new national defense area where our troops now, instead of just looking at the border with binoculars and wondering who that person is and hoping CBP interdicts them, they now temporarily take action to temporarily detain those folks and hand them over to CBP because of that authorized zone. It's a sea change from the open season it was the previous administration. But not just here at home. In 3 of the most strategically important regions in the world, we are increasing allied burden sharing while we increase deterrence. America first doesn't mean America alone. It means we expect our allies to step up, to be true force multipliers for freedom. This approach ensures we achieve peace through strength. First, in Europe, our allies are finally, thanks to President Trump in the first administration, and again in these first 100 days, following America's call for European leadership and ownership of continental security. We've transferred U.S. leadership of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group to the UK and to Germany. We've obtained commitments from Poland, one of many model allies, the Baltics, to spend 5% of their GDP on defense. We've made the same call to other allies. 2% is not enough considering the threats you face. 3%, 4%, 5%. And we made progress with major European powers who are setting initial targets, due to one I spoke to just this morning, to increase their defense spending. The time of the United States, you're in Pennsylvania, you're in our beautiful country, being the sole guarantor of European security has passed. It's long overdue. Europe has to step up, fund its military, and lead. NATO needs to step up. Second, in the Middle East, we're pursuing stability and deterrence to the threats that exist there. President Trump has made it clear that America is fully committed to the security of our great allies in Israel. Just days after his inauguration, the DoD, under President Trump's leadership, released the shipment of 2,000 Mk-48 bombs to Israel. Critical munitions that the Biden administration had blocked. The Defense Department has also delivered 3 new F-35s to Israel, with another 3 aircraft on the way, to reinforce Israel's self-reliance and pursue President Trump's goal of achieving peace through strength. In Yemen, the Defense Department is executing lethal operations against Houthi terrorists. Our forces have struck hundreds of targets and decimated Houthi leadership, substantially reducing their capabilities and the threat to U.S. ships in the Red Sea and across and through the BAM. We have demonstrated America's commitment to defending our interests and restoring freedom of navigation, which we will do and are doing quickly. This is a clear, limited mission executed with ruthlessness. Full stop. We will run our ships through that BAM. And our message to the Houthis has been clear from the beginning. Allow us to sail our ships through, and we'll stop shooting at you. Until then, you're going to feel the pain. And I'll tell you, the Houthis are feeling the pain. We have demonstrated that any aggression against Americans will be met with decisive action, unlike what that region saw under the Biden administration. But this is not nation building. This is not land wars. This is not endless wars. This is not regime change. This is clear-eyed American national interests executed decisively, and overwhelmingly. Third, and most importantly, we are deterring Communist China in the Indo-Pacific and around the world. To deliver peace in this region, we're delivering a more forward regional force posture. We're supporting allies and partners. Allies and partners are our force multipliers as they strengthen their own capabilities, including in Taiwan. We're also connecting U.S. allies and partners to produce a stronger and more resilient and more capable network of partnerships. That's why you've seen our travel out there, and there will be a lot more of it. In fact, in March, I took my first trip to the Indo-Pacific as secretary. The first trip to Guam in 20 years from a defense secretary. I traveled to the Philippines to meet with President Marcos and his Secretary of National Defense. We reaffirmed the long-standing strength of the U.S.-Philippines alliance, a key piece in our strategy to deter and counter the Communist Chinese. We also traveled to Japan on that same trip, and later on a trip that a few of you may have seen to Panama. At each stop, we announced new bilateral exercises, increased cooperation, foreign military sales deals, and demonstrated our renewed commitment to President Trump's vision of peace through strength. In the Philippines, we are deploying more advanced capabilities, including Nemesis anti-ship missiles. In Japan, we announced Phase 1 of upgrading U.S. Forces Japan into a full-blown Joint Forces headquarters. In Panama, we secured a framework for first and free of Panama Canal passage for U.S. military vessels and auxiliary vessels, as well as the additional presence of U.S. troops stationed through both sides of the Panama Canal. As I said then, and I will reaffirm today, the President pledged to take back the Panama Canal from Chinese influence. And with our partners, we're doing just that, right in our own backyard. At every step, we are carrying out our strategy to increase deterrence against the Communist Chinese. As I've said before, in these places, when you meet with leaders who want to be with America, who believe in what America can do, have watched us when we're strong, they're making, in many cases and in many places, a binary choice. It is either by, with, and through the Americans or with the Communist Chinese. In the Indo-Pacific, around the world, but specifically in the Indo-Pacific and in our hemisphere, you can see it. You can see it in the eyes of allies and partners. You can see it in the influence underneath the surface. They want to be with us, but they need to see strength, and they need to see leadership. And that's what President Trump has provided in spades, not just in words, but in deeds, in action, and in deterrence. So as Europe shoulders more of the burden in continental security, that frees up resources for us to focus on countering the malign influence of the Communist Chinese where it matters most. Under the leadership of President Trump, the message to our adversaries in these first 100 days in office has been undeniably clear. America is bad. At the Defense Department, that means no more distractions, no more social engineering, no more climate change worship, no more electric tanks, no more gender confusion, no more pronouns, no more excuses, no more quotas, no more woke bullshit that undermines commanders and command climates. We are laser focused on our mission of warfighting. We are colorblind, and we are merit-based. We're restoring the warrior ethos, rebuilding the military, and reestablishing deterrence. End, full stop. Enemy aggression will be met swiftly and harshly. We're beginning a new golden age of America and a golden age of national defense. We have a bumper crop of new recruits, new planes, new missile defense systems on the way, allies increasing their defense spending, and adversaries on their heels. Today, on this beautiful day, we have a brand new class, soon to be, Army War College students about to graduate. You, all of you, are the future of our military. You will lead these new recruits, eager, optimistic, young, ready, and soon to be trained. They will look to you. You will lead the brigades, the ships, the groups. You will execute our tactical, operational, and strategic objectives all around the globe. You will set the standard. We're counting on you. And I know that you will deliver at each and every step with distinction. God bless you. Godspeed to all of our warriors, and thank you for having me today. Appreciate it.
Okay, Hegseth, thank you for your time here this morning, for communicating your focus and priorities. I know with this audience, this sense of warrior ethos resonates, and it's been my experience in 35 years of service to our nation that at the heart of the warrior ethos are disciplined, fit, confident soldiers. We've been investing for most of this past year in the intellectual fitness of the leaders that are on the field here with you today, but we're gonna take a step away from that for the next several days and engage on the fields of friendly strife and demonstrate some physical fitness. There's still, I've been told, some open spots on our teams here. Softball, soccer, functional fitness, running, pickleball, shooter's choice, sir. Got a good left to swing. I'll maybe join the softball team, but you be in uniform with this, sir. We want to set that to you. Thank you for your talk. Appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you.